Recently, Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook, wrote a book called Lean In, and she got attention for saying things like this.
Just a couple weeks ago at Facebook, we hosted a very senior government official, and then he had these two women who were traveling with him who were pretty senior in his department, and I kind of said to them, sit at the table, come on, sit at the table. And they sat on the side of the room.
Some feminists were angry about what she said and about other things in her book. Sandberg puts the social justice-based feminist movement at risk, said one leftist who was upset about Sandberg not agreeing that women are victims of men and corporations. They say sexist society holds women back, not the way women act. But Sandberg's book did become a #1 bestseller. Does she have a point? Yes, says Sabrina Schaeffer of the Independent Women's Forum. So go take it away.
Yeah, I thought Sandberg offered a very thoughtful assessment of women in the workplace. She did not initially lament workplace culture as sexist. She did not offer public policy prescriptions. She just gave sort of nuts and bolts suggestions to women who have high aspirations and strong career path aspirations, and said, here are some real things that you can do to better yourself. It was sort of a self-help style
women need
feminism.
to be told if they want to advance in the company to take a seat at the table?
Well, actually, yes. The fact is that Sandberg picks up on some very sensitive gender differences, that men and women are different, and the more that we can sort of recognize and accept those differences, the better we are. So she says, look, women don't negotiate their salaries. I was one of those women. My brother told me he negotiated every salary he had. The fact is, once you're aware of that,
So women are timid?
No, I don't think
not the women
timid.
I know.
But there may be ways that we're not thinking about asserting ourselves in the workplace that we could do more of.
Why were women on the left so angry about her book?
Right. I think that they realize now that a lot of the battles that they're fighting have been won. Women are outpacing men educationally, outpacing men professionally. There's, after a while, sort of a big sigh. Really? Are we still having this conversation?
Yeah, and you live longer than we do. You're getting all the breaks.
I know. But there's one place I agree with some of the feminists. I think that Sandberg is a little bit out of touch, and here's why. I don't think that most women want what Sheryl Sandberg wants. If you look at some recent studies, only 23% of women said that they would prefer to work full-time, let alone sort of a CEO quality of life that Sheryl Sandberg is living. So I think if you ask most women, as Warren just suggested, most women want some kind of balance.
They're making a choice, and that's why. Did you make a choice? Are you earning less because you made a choice? Wow, major nods there. All right, well, thank you, Sabrina. Applauding themselves. Coming up, is it true that women can do anything men can do?
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
We're back with your questions for my guests. Leonard Sachs, who says boys are cheated by American schools. Sean Latta, who says we need government to force schools to provide equal sports for girls. And Sabrina Schaeffer, who runs the Independent Women's Forum. So first from my Facebook page. Why has no one tonight talked about the fact we have two physical standards between men and women in the military and law enforcement, or fire departments for that matter? Are we equal or not?
We do have different standards, and that's really biological. If we look at physiological differences like hormones, men have more testosterone, so they have a greater capacity of muscle mass and to be stronger.
So shouldn't men have an advantage in fire departments and combat?
The average man, but there are women who have greater strength than some men.
So why not have one test, and those women who have equal or greater strength, they get in, but we have women get to do fewer push-ups and run the mile more slowly. Why is that fair?
They have other skills as well that can be beneficial to the fire department.
Let's go to the audience. Yes.
In terms of business and technology, much of the innovation that we see coming out of these fields still seems to come mostly from men, even though women are graduating from college in greater numbers. So my question is, what do you think?
And getting master's degrees in greater
Absolutely. And what do you think are the long-term effects of this? What do you think the effects will be on the economy, for example?
Well, you're raising a really interesting question, which is what drives innovation? Steve Jobs, probably the greatest innovator of our generation, was a college dropout. Bill Gates was a college dropout. So academic achievement measured by college degrees does not reliably correlate with innovation.
So we men are just more innovative?
Well, and also we have to look at where women are placing their efforts. So many more women are getting bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and PhDs, but they're in fields that aren't necessarily the same as men. So while men are choosing to go into computer science, where we may see very tangible results in terms of innovation, women who are getting, PhDs in English, you may not see the same thing. However, we are seeing a lot of women who are going into these big tech firms, for instance, the Sheryl Sandbergs, the Virginia Romneys of IBM. Microsoft just hired another C-suite
But they
level.
are the exception.
Right, but they are influencing this innovation.
Who's got the mic over here?
You said that the Title IX you felt was necessary beyond the social changes, that if it wasn't for that, we'd still be in the Stone Ages. I was just wondering how you would explain a relatively new sport such as the mixed martial arts or cage fighting. It's barely been around for 20 years. Already there's females in a number of major organizations without any sort of law that required them to do that. How did that come about without a basic societal change?
Title IX was passed in 1972, so it's over 40 years now that Title IX has impacted social beliefs. And so now in 2013...
So the law changed people's attitudes? It wasn't the reverse?
Well, it opened the doors for women to have opportunities.
Would you say it's still necessary, or would you say that the change has been accomplished?
Yeah, get rid of it.
I say absolutely not, because even so, the National Women's Law Center estimates at least 70% of colleges and universities are still not in compliance with Title IX. And so we still have a ways to go.
Because the boys want to play sports. If I throw the football with these guys, I know that'll happen. If I throw it to the girls,
Good
okay. We're out of time. Thank you, Leonard, Sean, Sabrina. Coming up, women drivers and philandering men. Is what people say about them true? We test some myths.